Hi everyone, this is Ivan from CoinLive, and as usual, we are delivering to you the crypto recap for February the 13th. Now, as a legal disclaimer, this is not financial advice, but rather it just serves the purpose of informing you all on the latest developments in the crypto space. Now, I also want to remind you that the written version of the crypto recap has been published in our Medium channel, so feel free to visit our page there. Now, let's dive into it. In terms of the market summary, the crypto remains basically in a wait-and-see mode, with both volatility and volumes having experienced a notable decrease since last week. It is easily identifiable by checking CoinMarketCap and ordering the column by volume versus capitalization ratio that just a handful of them are surpassing over 10% above the normal capitalization. So something to be aware of. Now, moving on, the Bitcoin chart continues to build momentum just ahead the 9,000 handle, while Ethereum continues to, as it's been the case for quite some time, piggyback the movements of Bitcoin. One has to only check the activity on Ethereum against Bitcoin to also come to the conclusion that it's all about the price of Bitcoin these days. Now, it exists evidence, if only tentative, that judging by the decrease in the sell side against the 9,000, we might potentially see reattempts towards this 9,000 handle in Bitcoin. So bear that in mind. Now, checking the US Tether against the US dollar as a proxy of market sentiment, it communicates a positive context as the pair continues to exchange hands anchored around the parity level. And that is good news, as I said, for the market sentiment. That means stability for now. In terms of volume by exchanges, with December's hype long gone and ahead of the potential curve in regulations in several countries, the number of transactions going through the books have continued to proceed, with Binance and Bitham as well as Bitfinex showing drops of 10% and 30% respectively. Now, in terms of the total market cap, we are standing around $415 billion. It has been barely changed from Monday. Now, with regards to the main gainers and losers, it is noticeable to see Z Classic, Ethereum Classic, and Chainlink going through a good run, 10%. And in terms of the losers, we've seen Ucash, which has all the signs written on the wall of being a potential PAM scheme. Smart Cash, Populous, Singularity Net also dropping by around 10%. Now, let's check at the industry news that made most of the headlines for February the 13th. We learned that Bitfinex has announced the launch of EOS Finex, a high-performance decentralized exchange on the EOS platform. Now, by checking the North American news, we also noticed that JP Morgan believes that the cryptos can now help diversify portfolios. So JP Morgan, in a 71-page research report titled Decrypting Cryptocurrencies, Technology, Applications, and Challenges, they basically state that the non-correlation nature of Bitcoin could help investors to diversify their portfolios. And at CoinLive, it has been our belief that since Bitcoin so far has proven to not be correlated to any asset class, stocks, bonds, you name it, this anomaly by itself can help indeed reduce the volatility of a portfolio, and therefore one can expect larger allocation by hedge or pension funds in 2018. Now, another industry news that made headlines was the India's Citibank announcing they were banning the purchases of crypto assets. One can allocate this news by checking the Asian category, and it'll be found towards the top. There it is. So basically they've been announcing that they were banning purchases through both credit and debit card. And the bank broke the news through an email which they sent to their customers. Now, in what was perceived as positive news, South Korea, there it is, South Korea may have softened their stance when it comes to crypto regulations. So basically what the government is doing is going to potentially allow a type of New York bit license model. So that's also good news. Moving on, in the BitGrill scandal, we have learned that the founder of BitGrill has been interviewed by the Cointelegraph, and in this interview he reveals the state of affairs, and some of the main takeaways is that he says that they're trying to understand how to proceed from a legal standpoint, and once they can have a clear picture and on how to go about it legally, they will proceed. Now, in the US, Waze Rating has issued a note in which they warning the investors about the US dollar tether. So one can check in our news terminal this news by US dollar tether. There it is. Waze Rating publishes an article on the dangers of tether. Now this is a very familiar subject. Everybody's well aware on the lack of transparency about US tether, but you know, a reputable agency like Waze putting out another statement is yet again another motive to be cautious about it, even though in the US dollar tether against the US dollar it is not being reflected in a variation of price. When it comes to the crypto assets, there were a large number of fundamentally oriented updates, so we want to bring to your attention a few of the highlights. For example, Vault on Chain announced a strategic partnership with Loxy. One can come into our first column and check this news. Also, Ethereum announced and made available the Plasma implementers called number 2. So if one clicks on the headline in the third column, you will be able to find out the highlights from this call. And at the same time, the Ethereum ecosystem has updated quite a few aspects, including the sharding research. There's a lot of research being done in that front. Also, the Doge Ethereum bridge is finally live on testnet, while the Relay Network version 1 code got released. One of the news that we also want to bring to your attention is on Monero. Monero basically has now announced that there's going to be a slight change in the proof of work. So they are planning, as one can notice from this headline, they are planning a slight proof of work change for the March fork, something to be aware of if you're a holder of Monero. In other news making headlines, we learned that Cardano has been added into the Ledger Trello roadmap. So what this basically means is that in the foreseeable future, Cardano holders will be able to store their holdings into the popular hardware, and that's certainly very good news for those that are supporting this project. Now, we also learned that Kyber Network has joined forces with OneChain, so they have announced a strategic partnership, and they are looking to cooperate with OneChain in exchange creation, liquidity provision, and the Peace Relay project that is going to be focusing on building a communication and interaction system. Now, last but not least, IOTA co-founder was interviewed by the Coin Central, Bennett Garner, and we managed to pick up on this news. We believe that it's good to have these insights by these key influencers in some of the top projects out there. Okay everyone, this is all for today. We hope that you continuously see the value that we are providing in the format that these news are being delivered: concise, simplified, cutting to the chase. We encourage that if you see the value, please smash that like button and join us in this journey. We have Facebook, Medium, Twitter, different channels available where you will be able to find our content, not to mention that we are about to launch our MVP, minimum viable product website. So stay tuned, and tomorrow we'll bring you more and better crypto news updates. Thank you.